Hey everybody, welcome to episode 62 of FoundersGyan and thanks for tuning in. This week we talk about growth hacking for startups with our guest Vishnu Saran, the founder and CEO of 23Yards.com. Do check out www.foundersgyan.com/EP62 for all the show notes and all that we discuss about on the show. See you on the flip side. So Vishnu Saran, great to have you on the show. Thanks so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us. So we are going to be talking today about growth hacking, right? So can you introduce yourself and your company?
Thank you, Ram. So I'm Vishnu. I've started 23 Yards a couple of months back. So we are India's first growth hack consultancy firm. And so we help businesses growth hack, and we introduce the concept of lean marketing in their business strategy so that they can achieve a lot of growth within a less duration of time using the right tools which are present in today's market.
Right. So I think the very first question is what exactly is growth hacking and how is it different from just marketing, general marketing
So growth hacking is not just marketing. That is one major thing that I would want to stress, because a lot of people have this confusion between digital marketing and growth hacking. Mm-hmm. So growth hacking has four ingredients to it. So there is the growth strategy, and there's a technology part, and there's a UI UX design part, and then there is analysis. See, analysis is really important, especially in growth hacking, because you need to know which kind of tricks and tips are working for you and which strategies are not, so that you can amplify the ones that are working and cease to work on strategies that are not working. At the same time, growth hacking involves right from the product development to marketing, or all the stages of business development or business management in general. So
I think we need to define growth hacking.
Exactly.
So that people understand.
Defining growth hacking is a little bit difficult, but so that I'll explain with examples, because then it'll be really helpful. So there was this company called Listerine. I think it's very popular right now, but then there were times when they had a lean phase and then they wanted to increase their sales by a huge amount.
So Listerine is the mouthwash.
Yes, mouthwash.
Right.
So what the company management did was they created a new disease. So they call it halitosis. So it's just called bad breath in some Greek language or some language, but then they added osis to it and they made it a medical condition.
Scientific something.
Yeah, they made it a medical condition. And what happened was they also created a profile around it. They created a persona of a lady who has this problem of halitosis, and because of having this problem, she was not able to get good guys as dates, and she was not able to mingle very well in the society. And then their entire brand strategy was based on this halitosis and that lady. So they structured it in such a way that do not or fight this challenge of halitosis by using Listerine. And then their sales shot up by an alarmingly increasing, by a huge amount of percentage. This is one example of growth hacking. One more example is there was some emperor in Europe. So what he did was he wanted to increase the demand for potato. All these people in his country were very much fed up with potato because it was an easily available vegetable, and the demand for it decreased even from the surrounding states, and they did not buy it easily. So, and his economy was based on that. So what he did was he made a strict condition that potato cannot be grown by anyone except the royal family.
Okay.
So what happened was
it created an artificial demand.
It created a hype around it. It created a wanting for people around it, and then he made sure that the security wasn't tight enough so that a few farmers can sneak by and take away the potato seeds or something. So what happened was he rebranded the vegetable potato, and then it became a royal vegetable. And when it became a royal vegetable, the sales shot up, the demand shot up, and once the demand shot up, his economy shot up.
So
growth hacking is like following unconventional methods and following smart techniques to overcome the market difficulties and get a viral growth in a very short span of time.
Okay, so unconventional techniques and smart techniques, right? So let us talk about that from a startup's perspective. There are a lot of listeners starts who are having the startups or wanting to start up, and we all know the organic growth, which is not growth hacking. Basically,
It's not growth hacking.
organic
Yes.
growth is slow and steady growth, but growth hacking is like exponential growth, right? So, what are some of the various considerations that we need to consider? You already talked about 4 main things, right? So, can you expand a little bit more on those 4
Absolutely.
aspects?
So one thing that I want to make clear is that organic growth is not slow and steady growth. Organic growth is that growth which you achieve apart from the paid advertising growth. Organic growth is more like word of mouth growth and things like that. So you can do that as well in growth hacking. Organic growth is very important for any company because it only happens with companies which have great products. So if you are a company that has a great product and you truly believe in it, then organic growth is something that you have to keep a lot of focus on, and you have to build your growth hacking strategy around it. So one big thing that you need to do is, if you are a B2C company, you need to crowdsource content. Now content is king. That was said by Bill Gates in 1996, and it is still valid because everyone who's creating content are really, really rich and are really doing well. Let's take example of Google. Google provides you each and every content, and that's why it's at that position. Take example of Facebook. Facebook provides you personal content, and that is the reason behind its success. At the same time, Instagram provides you rich media content. It was more successful. And then Snapchat. Now after Snapchat, Instagram stories. So if you see the trend, people, there is this
YouTube, of course.
Yeah, YouTube, of course. So the thing is, people consume 4 things: food, water, air, and content. So if you are a producer of content, then there's no way that you're going out of demand. So what you need to do is, you'll be creating a lot of content regarding your business or your startup or probably your product. Now you have to make sure that your customers or your prospective clients also talk about that particular product or that particular business or something that is related to that. So you need to crowdsource content so that there's a lot of content creation happening, and there are a lot of different angles to it. So you might be having a marketing head or a marketing manager who might have one single perspective, but imagine if all your customers were your marketing heads, and all your customers were picking one separate point of your product which they love the most, and then they are posting about it. So the value to that is huge.
So one of the easiest ways of creating content is obviously blog posting, right? So many successful companies and many successful people who have done growth hacking, they blog a lot, right?
Correct.
Basically, it's not just selling their product, they talk about various things. I easily comes to my mind, say Zoomcar, for example, blogs about various holiday destinations in and around different cities. They don't need to talk about it. I mean, you can go to TripAdvisor, but that's a strategy where people come in and, kind of drives traffic to their site. Now, when you say people should create content, do you consider reviews and things like that as people created content?
No, not reviews. Not reviews or not anything that is related to, advertising your product directly. But I'll give you a small example. So one strategy that we are following for Flit is that we are trying to crowdsource content in a very peculiar way. So we are starting this Instagram contest. So contest is one really good idea for any startup to crowdsource content. So the contest that we are running is, every person or every lady in general who's interested in fashion designing. There are a lot of people, but they don't have enough opportunities to extend their passion in that way or follow that. So even by sitting in your college hostel room, what you can do is, whatever sketch that you've made, you can post it as on Flit. So as an Instagram contest entry, and so they'll be posting fashion sketches, and then the post which is most popular based on your number of likes and based on the caption that you give to it, and based on the broad theme that we give you, so we'll be giving you away prizes. So these prizes will not be in the form of cash money or something, but will be of real value. So all these people who are sketching fashion dresses, they'll be very much interested in getting an internship in one of the popular boutiques. And since Flit is connected to so many boutiques across the country, it can easily provide one of the good designers a really good opportunity as a fashion designer directly from their college room. And that's a really huge opportunity and a huge value. And then all these ladies, all these girls, they will start sketching, they will start posting on Instagram, and then they will share it with their friends. Hey, like my post, like my picture. How do you like my picture? And that's how the brand of Flit grows, you know. So contest is one really important thing where you can crowdsource content. And now coming to the Zoom car example, see, I really don't believe the fact that it is not a necessity. I think blog posting and information providing is definitely a necessity for any business, because that creates inbound marketing, and inbound marketing is the most precious form of marketing. You can do cold calls all day, but that won't get you much traffic, because there is this concept called if you sell, I won't buy. But then at the same time, if you create a curiosity, or if you just tell me the features, see, I can ask you, you know, buy this pen for 10 rupees, this has this feature, you're not interested. But if I'm talking to my friend and saying, hey, you know about this pen, it was made from this country and then it has this kind of ink, then you'll inquire me, hey, how do I get that pen? You are understanding the difference, right? So what Zoomcar and all other companies are doing is they're trying to sell the bigger value to them. I mean, bigger value to their customer. They're not just lending their vehicle on rent, but they're selling the concept of travel.
They're talking about the benefits
of a road trip. At the same time, that strategy of blog posting and content providing is really essential, but their format is wrong. I mean, if you are still sticking to the words format, then it's not going to work. You need video content, because out of 10 posts, 8 posts in Facebook newsfeed are video right now. And you need to create video. And video production is not as costly and expensive like it used to be.
Right. Anybody with a handy or even your phone. I mean, these days
you don't need a handy cam or a phone as well. You just need pictures and you just need text. If you check, I would recommend every listener to check out Business Insider videos. So what they do is they produce news in such a way that they have a set of photographs, probably a couple of Donald Trump and couple of Hillary Clinton, and then they structure their article in such a way that there's a photo sliding, and then there's a zoom and pan kind of animation, and then there's a text flow. So the same blog article which you're writing with imagery, you can make it into a video. And that video has a huge engagement value. At the same time, Facebook is giving you video analytic tools, like what is the percentage of video that is completed on average, and how many unique viewers have you got. So, you know, this content marketing and, you know, crowdsourcing. So for crowdsourcing content, I would recommend the contest example. And for creating content by yourself, I recommend video, because video is the most richest form of content, and that is the most consumed content by any user right now at this present scenario.
Okay, great. And so obviously you have a long history behind you of working in various companies. We were just chatting before the call, and you have a lot of growth hacking experience behind you. But if you could recollect back to one of your worst entrepreneurial moments, worst experience in terms of growth hacking, could you share that with us, and the lessons you learned from it? Something you thought would do really well but turned out, you know, absolutely bad, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give you a very recent example. So after we changed business model into a growth hack consultancy firm, we were always focused on how to growth hack for our clients, but I haven't not focused about how do I growth hack my own business, because you know, a B2B business also can have a lot of growth hack techniques. So the strategy that I followed prior to this thought was, I had my own designer and I was completely dependent on him, and his portfolio was like the portfolio of my company. And we, as a part of growth hack consultancy, we also execute the strategies that we mentioned. So we need to create social media content, we need to create social media creatives, website creatives, brochure, etc. So when I'm completely dependent on this person and I'm giving away a lot of stake for him, there's only so much a man can do, you know. He has to schedule his posts and he has to work from morning till evening, and then he'll complete probably 50 social media creatives. But what if I want it within an hour? So, I mean, if I give 50 creatives within an hour to my client, that has more sense. That makes more sense. That gives more value to my client.
Right.
That is when I realized that I'm making a huge mistake by not thinking about growth hacking of my
Your
own
own
company.
company.
And then what I did was, right now I have a network of design teams, one in Kolkata, one in Gujarat, one in Kochi, one in Bangalore, and one in Chennai. And I've picked them up through a lot of filtration process. And they are also budding entrepreneurs, budding startups, and they want to focus themselves as a design firm. So see, I am a growth hack consultancy firm and I get things done. And getting things done depends on the time is the most valuable currency. So getting things done quickly is my most valuable asset. So I know exactly what kind of work to give to which design group and how long will they take to complete it. Now I can schedule my work in a more really efficient way and give more value to my clients. And the content bank that we created with the mixture of these many designers in such a short span of time is unbelievable for our clients, and this kind of service will remove a huge piece of their headache out from their head, because they need not do micromanaging about their social media creators or marketing strategy, and they need not worry about having only one perspective. They're getting so many designers as perspective and then micromanaged by 23 yards. So that is one big example that I can give.
Right. So the lesson here is that even if you're running a creative firm, a design firm, whatever, or even a marketing firm or a growth hacking firm, don't just concentrate on your clients, concentrate on yourself. You're your
Correct.
biggest client, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Now, can you talk about some of the biggest pitfalls and tips in terms of growth hacking? What are some of the biggest mistakes you have seen in your experience, and what are some of the biggest gains that companies and individuals and startups can do in terms of growth hacking?
Okay, so when you talk about pitfalls, the first thing that comes into my mind is people choosing cost per click over cost per impression. So it is not always valid that you have to choose cost per click over cost per impression. So there are these two terms called CPC and CPM. CPM stands for cost per 1,000 impressions.
Right.
So yes, there are a lot of clients who think that, if I get a click, then it's of a lot of value.
Right.
And I'll only pay for clicks.
Clicks, not for impressions.
Not for impressions. But that actually is wrong. The thing is that if you have a really good copywriting guy, and if your SEM copywriting is really good, your click-through rate is more. And if your click-through rate is more, it is more sensible to go for CPM, because it will be cheaper for you. It will be cost-effective for you than CPC. And you have to consider a lot of people who just click on the link out of curiosity. So don't just consider CPC as the ultimate for any advertising model, but consider CPM. So because it all depends on your click-through rate, and once you engage, once you have a lot of click-through rate, it's better to move on to CPM.
And also, it's not just a question of clicks, right? Sometimes growth hacking also involves not just getting people to your site, but also building some awareness, right?
Correct.
And awareness comes by more number of impressions. Maybe people don't click, but if they keep seeing your ad everywhere, then sometime
I'm really skeptical about awareness created out of impressions, because people have so minute attention span. They won't care even a little about your link on Google. But at the same time, you have to create a lot of content and a lot of awareness, and you need to gain a lot of impressions on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, in the relevant channels. Because over there, probably the attention span is a little bit more. And at the same time, you have the possibility of creating rich media content. And by rich media content, I specifically say images and video, which you cannot get on Google web search.
If you like this show, do follow us on Facebook and Twitter. The link is www.facebook.com/FoundersGyan and twitter.com/FoundersGyan. Both these provide you daily tips and articles, as well as resources to help and inspire your startup. There are multiple tips per day. Some examples of these tips would be articles on the latest startups, growth hacking tips, how do you build team for startups, how to get funding, etc. So don't forget facebook.com/FoundersGyan and twitter.com/FoundersGyan. Right. Okay. And biggest tip, this is one of the pitfalls that people only going for CPC, don't consider even CPM. What is the biggest tip that you would say you can give to startups?
So it's all domain specific. I would say that you have to have a really good growth team in your startup. By a growth team, I mean 4 people. One guy is the growth strategy head who will be doing anything and everything to achieve growth in a very short span of time. And his best friend must be a technology expert. So a technology expert who can build you Python scrapers, who has a lot of knowledge about different technologies and different tools that are already available. It doesn't make sense for you to develop an entire application on your own if it is already existing. Use that. Pay some extra bucks, use that and get your work done rather than spending time. Yeah, because time is your most valuable asset and that has to be your primary concern. Time. And then the third person that needs to be in this growth team is a designer, a UI UX designer. So UI UX is not to be taken lightly. It has a huge impact, especially once you do A/B testing for your startup, for your landing page or for your website or for your mobile app. You'll understand the impact of UI UX. The user interface and user experience has to be impeccable. There is this app called Housify. So they connect you with interior designers and interior architects. So their UI UX is absolutely great. If you check their app out, you have one complete image per view, and then you have to swipe images to see more designs. And when you're giving that big a window space for an interior design product, you can depict everything in it.
Right.
Yeah, and then the user interface of just swiping through all these images is really cool. I mean, people feel that they're interacting with the app, and it's a sort of a gamification kind of thing.
Right.
And so one more tip is that
before we go on to the fourth person in your growth hacking team, I just want to touch a little on A/B testing. I think a lot of people probably don't even understand the importance of A/B testing and probably think that it's I don't know, maybe it's not necessary, but based on my limited research and understanding, even big companies like Amazon and even Google, all these big companies do A/B testing.
Absolutely.
Right. So there's no reason why startups shouldn't do A/B testing, and there's a lot of you can get conversion rates up by 25%, 50% if there are slight changes to the copy.
85% as well. See, A/B testing is really important because you cannot be your sole judge for your product. And startup, so there is this popular TV series called Silicon Valley. So over there, the main founder or the protagonist does the same mistake. He creates an excellent technology product, but then he shares it only with his close circle of friends. And then they find it excellent as well because all of them are nerds. So you have to do A/B testing in a huge, or that was beta testing, but in beta testing as well, you have to create your sample. By sample, I mean your product users in such a way that they're diverse, and at the same time you show them two different things. So I think that is the lesson that Silicon Valley wanted to teach us. A/B testing is very important with the correct sample set. And there are a lot of companies which have really achieved 100%, 200%, 300% growth over A/B testing. One major example is LinkedIn. I mean, I don't know how LinkedIn was before, but there are a lot of companies which use a huge registration form. Top to bottom, you have to fill all the details, and only then you can create a profile. But LinkedIn is not like that. Every time you sign in, it will ask a new question, and by the end of the week, you'll have your entire profile completed. So it's like gamification. One question per page. It creates more interaction, and then it gives you a sense of you're proceeding to something rather than filling up a form. And that A/B testing, if you want, you can A/B test that for any of your product, for any of your service. You can do create a form and then see which gives you a better result, a complete form or a gamification kind of form.
Okay. So, and the fourth person we were talking about.
The fourth person is the analyst. Now this analyst is the one who's going to judge the results that come out of A/B testing, who's going to judge the results of each and every activity that a company does or the growth team recommended. So he'll be judging based on a lot of parameters. So he'll come out with ratios, he'll come up with techniques and strategies which are working the most, and then he'll tell the growth head to amplify that technique.
So I just want to talk about measuring the success of growth hacking. So how do you measure the success? Do you define, let's say my aim is to sell more products, gain more followers, so do you define that at the start and then kind of measure and then refine? What exactly should we look at in terms of a successful growth hacking strategy? How do we measure whether it's been successful or we need to tweak something?
Yes. So the KPI for growth hacking is that, see, the numerator might change, but the denominator is constant, and the denominator is time. The KPI, so the numerator can be number of followers, number of viewers, number of subscribers,
number of sales,
whatever,
right?
Whatever.
Right.
That will be defined before you lay out your growth plan.
Right. Okay.
It'll be.
But it's always on time.
So it's always on time. The denominator is on time.
Okay.
Because that is the biggest.
Right. You can't change it and say I'll grow more subscribers in less cost. So you can't set up something.
See,
like
that is also probably a. One of the KPIs. See, there are a lot of KPIs for
but it's simple.
hacking.
Let's keep it simple.
Yeah. To keep it simple, as a thumb rule, it's if you put the denominator as time.
Okay.
Then
you're measuring things against time.
Against time.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Now, okay. So, what are the action items that startups need to take? If that's a takeaway from this interview, what do you think startups should do immediately if they don't already have a growth hacking strategy in place?
Yeah. So the founders have to be the primary growth hackers for them. The founders have to be very, very growth oriented, and at the same time they need to probably take help. You cannot do it all by yourself.
Right.
You have to make sure that you're concentrating on your core business and outsource these small works.
Right.
Take that headache off your chest.
Right.
So that is one big actionable item that I would recommend them.
Right.
And
so if they want to involve your own company, for example, you provide growth hacking service, right? So how do they get in touch with you?
So they can get in touch with me probably by emailing me or by visiting my website 23yards.com.
Right. What's your email?
My email is vishnu@23yards.com.
Right. Okay.
But at the same time, we are very choosy about the clients that we take up because we work on a long-term relationship basis, and the founders have to be really passionate, and the product has to be really exciting for us to take up them as a client.
Right.
But anyways, they can reach out for me if they need any kind of help in creating a strategy or any other help they want.
Sure.
Yeah.
And apart from that, supposing they don't have the budget or the budget to hire external agencies and they want to do it on their own for whatever reasons.
So yes, if they want to do it on their own, I would suggest them to follow this person called David Arno. He has started a tribe called the Growth Tribe in Amsterdam.
Okay.
So you have to check out his videos.
Okay.
And he clearly explains how growth hacking works, and a lot of other things that I've mentioned in this podcast were also directly taken from him. And then there is this person.
How can we
just Google search David Arno.
David Arno.
Growth Tribe.
Growth Tribe. Okay.
Yes.
David Arno, Growth
also, this person called Neil Patel is very famous.
Right.
His growth hacking his growth hacking video is quite popular on YouTube, and that is really helpful. Also, one more book that I would recommend is Monish Pabrai's Dhando book. So Monish Pabrai is a very big investor. He's a Indian American. He's a very big fan of Warren Buffett. Actually, he's one of the persons who paid $650,000 or million, I don't remember, a huge sum of amount to have lunch with Warren Buffett. So his book Dhando is really, really good. The Dhando Investor, I think. That's a really good book. And I suggest all people to read this book called The Go Giver. I don't remember the author's name, but probably they can Google search. The Go Giver has 5 important rules for people to achieve stratospherical success. And one of the most important point is by giving value. Giving so much value that your client or your customer should really feel very privileged to have known you.
Right. I have read this book actually, The Go Giver. I don't remember the author's name, but I will search it and I'll put it on the show notes. Now, you did mention the books and resources. Are there any other resources like in terms of tools that you
Yes,
can talk
absolutely. So for email marketing, you can use MailChimp.
Mm-hmm.
That's really effective. And then there's HubSpot for your entire digital marketing services. I think HubSpot has recently started giving out free services for 1 year for startups.
Mm-hmm.
I have to check that out. But yeah, there are a lot of growth hacking tools. I mean, it depends on what is your necessity.
Right.
So if your necessity is something which can be achieved through a tool that already exists,
Right.
I suggest you to take up the tool.
Right.
Then I would also suggest you to, for e-commerce websites, I strongly suggest Shopify.
Shopify.
So instead of hiring a huge
Right, instead of building your own website,
team,
right.
you take Shopify services, and there is no harm in doing so.
Right.
Because Shopify has now enabled an online plus offline kind of a model,
Right.
where your entire SKU units are completely synchronized and it's
Right.
seamless throughout.
Right.
So
right, don't rebuild the
don't
reinvent the wheel, right?
Yes, reinventing the wheel doesn't make sense.
Right.
And for inspiration, I would recommend people to watch Gary Vaynerchuk videos.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy is a huge media mogul in New York.
Right.
His name is Gary Vaynerchuk, and he has a lot of YouTube shows. It can get a little dramatic in his videos, but
Right.
the content is really valuable.
Okay, great. I just have one final question, but before we go on to that, you obviously mentioned your website, that's 23yards.com, and your email vishnu@23yards.com. Are you available on any other social media like LinkedIn?
Yeah, absolutely.
Facebook,
I am
Twitter?
available on Facebook and LinkedIn as well.
Right, okay. So I will link those on the show notes.
You can give out my phone number as well. People can reach me on WhatsApp.
Right.
On my phone number 9848294152.
Right.
And
Can you
I'm
just repeat
available.
that little slowly.
Yeah. So people can reach me anytime on WhatsApp. I'm online 24/7. 9848294152.
Okay, I'll also link that up on the show notes, and I will link your LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter also, right? You said Twitter also. I will link all those up on the show notes page, so that if there are any founders who are interested in having a chat with you about growth hacking,
Absolutely,
or
they're
generally
always
about
welcome.
startups,
Yeah.
I think it'll be great to reach out to you and chat with you. So the final question that I have is, like, if there is only one gyan that you could give our would-be founders or listeners with regards to growth hacking, what would that be?
Okay. So I think I've given a lot of other tips.
Yeah, but only one. So out of, maybe you can choose one of those and
Yes.
say if this is the only thing that people have to listen
Correct,
to
correct.
do this, or it will be something completely new.
Absolutely. So I think I found a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
So all growth hacking depends on this important concept called OPN.
Mm-hmm.
And by OPN, I mean other people's networks.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can start from scratch and try to build your own audience, but that will take you nowhere. I mean, that will
Right.
take a lot of time.
Right.
And once it takes a lot of time, our denominator is increasing, and that is
Right.
not a good model.
Right.
So by OPN, I mean that your customers are customers to other services as well.
Right.
You have to understand that, and
Right.
those other service providers might not be your competition.
Right.
So you need to start doing biz dev, business development. You have to start creating collaborations, co-branding events, co-branding marketing
Right.
in such a way that you jumpstart your startup, you jumpstart your audience by using other people's networks,
Right.
and also by providing value to their audience as well as themselves, the other service providers.
Right. Excellent tip. So just don't depend on your own network. Use
Other people
Use the
networks.
second and third degree
Correct.
connections also. And yeah, great tips there. So thanks a lot, Vishnu. It was great chatting with you. I really got some really nice information. I'm sure our listeners also have gotten some nice actionable tips on growth hacking. So hopefully everybody is like going to implement this and really become successful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Ram.
Thank you. That's it for today, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a comments on the show notes page at foundersgyan.com/EP62, and also check out our 60+ interview archive at foundersgyan.com. I'll see you all next week, but in the meantime, do take action on your own startup, as any action is better than none. Good luck on your startup adventure, and see you next week.